Streaming by ReVision webinar. How connectivity is transforming logistics. Connected trucks usher in a new era of smart logistics. My name is Aiko Hayashi from Science Design. I'll be your MC for today. I hope that you will enjoy today's seminar up to 2:45. As a new trial, this connectivity seminar organized by UD Trucks will be specially streamed by the ReVision webinar system. Also, we have this special venue with the cooperation of NTT Docomo. We are streaming live from the Docomo headquarters in Nagatacho. And in this venue, we have many people from the media. This is the live venue. Now, without further ado, please take a look at this video prepared by UD Trucks.
ありがとう。
お母さん、ブロッコリーいらない。
ちょっとつなぐ、しっかり野菜も食べないと大きくなれないよ。好き嫌いしないでちゃんと食べなさい。
そうだぞ。野菜は体に大事なんだよ。どうして毎日新鮮な野菜が食べられるかわかる？たくさんの人たちやいろいろなテクノロジーがあるおかげなんだよ。そのブロッコリーだって昨日農場で採れたばっかりなんだよ。
そっか、そのブロッコリーお母さんと一緒に買い物に行った時に僕が選んだんだよ。
新鮮な野菜がたくさん並んでただろ。スーパーにはいろんな野菜が売ってるけど、どれも違う畑から運ばれてきてるんだ。そのブロッコリーも何百キロも離れた遠くの農家から最新テクノロジー搭載のトラックで新鮮なまま運ばれてきてるんだよ。長い道のりを走り続けるトラックが安全に効率よく運行できるようにいろいろな工夫がされてんだよ。一番重要なのが新鮮な野菜を届けてくれるトラックの運転手さんが一生懸命頑張ってくれてるってことなんだよ。もちろんいろいろな人に新鮮なブロッコリーを届けるために一生懸命育ててくれる農家さんも忘れちゃいけないね。でもって重要なのが収穫したら速攻で届けるってこと。時間通りにしっかり届けるためにいろんなことをちゃんと見てる人がいるんだよ。まあつなぐが入ってるサッカーチームの監督みたいなものだね。
だからちゃんとブロッコリーも食べなさいよ、つなぐ。そろそろ行かなくちゃ。ここちゃん、おいで。行ってくるね。
こうやってママが毎日安全にちゃんと仕事ができるのはいろいろな人たちが支えてくれてるからなんだよ。
UD Trucks.
How did you enjoy the video? The future of logistics, the evolution of technology, it was very nicely represented in this video. I hope that tonight you will enjoy broccoli with new enthusiasm. So from now, we would like to start the presentations and the panel discussion. However, before, I would like to introduce today's speakers. From UD Trucks, Senior Vice President of Process and Solutions, Mr. Satish Rajakumar. And second, also from UD Trucks, Connected Solutions Director, Ms. Shetty Lai Chandrika. Also from UD Trucks, Business Analyst of the Connected Solutions Department, Mr. Koichi Mori. And to my left, NTT Docomo Senior Vice President and General Manager of 5G Laboratories, Mr. Takehiro Nakamura. And Automotive Journalist, Member of Cabinet Office, SIP Automated Driving for Universal Service, as well as the Advisor to ReVision and Auto&Mobility, Mr. Kazuo Shimizu. These five members will be the speakers for today. In the first half of today's webinar, we will have the presentation from each. And from around 1:55, we will start the panel discussion amongst these 5 members. The presentation by UD Trucks Mr. Rash Kumar and Ms. Chandrika will be translated into Japanese simultaneously. Also, in order to receive your questions and feedback real time, we have prepared a system called Slide. Please access the Slido site from your smartphone and PC. If you search SLIDO on the search page, it should come up. And please enter today's event code UDT. And then you'll be able to log in, and you'll be able to ask questions or make comments to the speakers. The questions that we receive from you will be addressed during the panel discussion. Also, you can also click like on the comments of other people. If there are many likes, then it will stand out, so the probability that this will be addressed will go up. I look forward to your many comments. Now let's start today's seminar. UD Trucks Senior Vice President of Process and Solution, Mr. Satish Rajkumar, please come up to the stage. Mr. Satish, please.
皆さんこんにちは。
Good afternoon.
My name is Satish from UD Trucks. And a warm welcome to all of you and to the people on the webinar. A warm welcome. And a warm welcome to this seminar on connectivity and how connectivity is transforming the logistics industry. I would like to thank NTT Docomo and the team here for hosting us here today. Also, I would like to thank Shimizu-san for coming and helping us here today and moderating the session and bring your industry perspective there. Also, I would like to thank all the media here, our partners, and our colleagues who are also connected, and friends who are watching this webinar today. And also a very big thank you to the webinar company to help us in this event today. Thank you very much for all these things. Looking forward for a very engaged discussion. And thank you all on behalf of UD Trucks. Shimizu-san.
Mr. Shimizu, please.
はい、こんにちは。
Good afternoon. I have been given 10 minutes, and my task is to talk about what we are doing at SIP in the Japanese government and the automotive industry, what has been the initiatives that have been discussed in the SIP, the Strategic Innovation Promotion Program. In short, SIP. I think it was around 2013 that this was started, and I had been involved from the very beginning. And the first phase concluded in March this year, and I thought maybe this will be the end. But because automated driving is just started, season 2, phase 2 has already commenced. And in phase 2, we will talk more about dynamic social implementation of this technology. When we look at the whole picture, maybe you're wondering why this is headed by the Cabinet Office. Actually, in each ministry, there was ITS, but there were a lot of duplications between different government ministries. And the importance of having a cross-sectional or cross-cutting approach became apparent because rather than fighting over the budget, we needed to have one Japan team in collaboration so that we can remain competitive internationally. There are about 10 or 11 issues overall. And there is I think the cybersecurity was newly added, so I think there are 11 working groups. And one of that is the automated driving. When we talk about connect or automated driving, we have to look at the various legal or regulatory aspects as well as the communication aspects, which will be related to MIC. So we work with the various ministries and agencies. Recently, we have been also looking at new tasks or new issues like IP or security. The more we work on this, the more new issues arise. When we first started, we didn't realize there were so many issues that we have to discuss. And so this starts from the left-hand bottom, which is the first phase. I think the biggest result is the dynamic map. Overseas, there's like TomTom or Google that is creating dynamic maps. But it is said that Japan's dynamic map is the most precise. So there is the static map information, and then on top of that there is the dynamic information. For example, the 1 week before road construction that was started with pylons, how could that be incorporated? And ultimately, information from 1 minute ago needs to be incorporated. So car navigation system, which had taken the place of paper maps, needs to be updated, including the various road conditions and the regulatory conditions. And in the future, of course, this there will be the driver will become the AI. So connected is the premises of such automated driving. If these information is not connected, then there can be no automation. And there are many information out there, like the private sector probe information. So all this big data needs to be tackled in the second phase. However, big data is like a buzzword. It sounds big, but once we look at it, that data is so tremendous that it becomes difficult. For example, in Japan, there's the tsunami information, meteorological information, weather information. There's so many types of different information. And when we incorporate all this information, it becomes chaotic and you start to panic. So we need to define the objective of each data and create a platform. And this is the second phase SIP for automated driving. And this will be around this phase will be up to 2023. It will be over after the Olympics. And then the next phase will be Society 5.0 realization. And this slide just summarizes the various big data. This is data from the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications. When you talk about big data, it's not just the vehicular data, but there are just many, many types of data in the civil society. When we talk about MaaS or the details of mobility, there are many types of data we have to consider. And not all of this data is necessarily connected. For example, if you go to the remote islands in Setochi, for example, the bus time schedule is not connected to the ferry information. And so when an overseas guest comes to these islands over the ferry, they find out when they arrive in the island that there's no taxi, there's no bus at that time, so they have to wait until morning. So this kind of information should all be connected. And the next is by the initiative by METI, Ministry of Economy and Trade. So when we look at the connected industries, automotive is a very strong industry, and also manufacturing and various industries need to be connected via data. Vehicles are also using chemical and bio industry, not just the machinery. So NOx data, CO2 data, there are various data that needs to be connected in order to reduce, for example, the environmental footprint and convert to a smarter industry. This is the basic thinking behind connected industry. And this slide is talking about connected industries leading to Society 5.0. So humanity started with the hunter-gatherer society, and then there were agricultural societies, and then there was the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Society started from the Great Britain with the invention of the steam engine. And that is the first industrial revolution. And then 100, 200 years after that, we have been living in this industrial society. And around 1990, with the rise of the internet and the communication via mobile phones, there was 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. And this is so now we have entered the information society. But actually, the problem with the internet information society is that there is too much information, and that we are drowning in too much information. In media, for example, President Trump often talks about fake news, but there's authentic news, and then there's so much information that we need to find a way through that vast amount of information. And media, I think, has an important responsibility in providing the information in an organized manner. And after the information society, we come to the society 5.0, or smart city, or super smart society. And in order to promote data utilization, it is very important to have a common rule. Today we'll be talking about platforms, but I think that data is like a language. For example, in the car, there is the CAN, engine to brake to the emission information, brake, engine, computer data is communicated via CAN. So the fact that the car is running at 60 kilometers per hour, it has an address in Corolla, but even if it's a Toyota, if it's a different model, actually a new address is used. So when we try to convert the data, it needs to be standardized with a common rule. Otherwise, the data will be completely separate and individual and cannot be put on the same platform, which also means that the closed type innovation needs to be converted to more open type innovation going forward. This world is very complicated, so I can't go into too much detail here. But if you're interested, maybe we can talk more in depth, and I can introduce to you some experts who know more than me. And the next slide. This is the slide prepared by the Cabinet Office and MEXT together. And this is the last slide. Actually, each ministry has a similar thinking on Society 5.0. For example, METI looks at Society 5.0 from the viewpoint of the industry. On the side of MEXT or Cabinet Office, it is looking at more of the total picture or total society. Medical, agriculture, infrastructure, health, education. Various parts needs to be connected for the Society 5.0. For logistics and automotive, for example, in the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake, the JATIC road information was unavailable because the disaster was so serious. But by uploading the information to the webpage on which roads are open, this allowed the police or the evacuators to use such roads. So vehicle-to-vehicle information sharing is very important, especially for disaster-prone areas. Or to keep people from getting near the dangerous areas. So I think that such vehicle-vehicle communication is a very important part of keeping the society safe. So this concludes my presentation. And the information that I share with you today are all from the government. So these are all public information. So if you like, please feel free to utilize this information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you very much. Let us talk about the society. The logistics is the lifeblood of the society. Logistics and transportation is critical for a sustainable society. And you touched upon the importance of connected there, Shimon-san. Efficient transportation enables prosperity, growth, and welfare in that society. And it's a key competitive advantage for any economy around the world. You saw that in the video where we talked about the broccoli. It brings prosperity to various people. UD Trucks is proud to be an active partner in the logistics industry. We aim to drive innovation, working closely with our customers and partners, and continuously create an efficient, clean, and a safe transport solution. So society update. However, the logistics industry, as you see in the next page, has many challenges. The traffic safety and congestion, environmental issues, the demographic changes with the birth rate and aging population, and an explosive increase from the growth of e-commerce. And a solution provider as UD Trucks, we have an obligation to solve these issues together with our customers and business partners. On the bottom you see cost and productivity. We see tighter regulation coming in, lack of skilled resources and drivers, and changing logistic demands coming because of e-commerce and others. And that is a challenge. Together with you as business partners and us in UD Trucks, we have a problem to solve. Connectivity, as Shimizu-san very rightly pointed out, is extremely important. Through connectivity, we in UD Trucks are working towards helping our customers to increase the revenue when it comes to payload, when it comes to efficient operation of their fleet, but also help our customers to reduce cost when it comes to fuel, when it comes to driver efficiency. So there are many opportunities with connectivity. Better uptime and also better quality of our trucks. And there are challenges as well. Cyber security, data privacy, and disruptions are other challenges with connectivity. Society 5.0, as Shimizu-san pointed out in a very detailed way, is a very good initiative from the Japanese government to create a smart city. Similarly, there are many other initiatives around the world in Singapore, Australia, and many other countries. And if you look at all these things, this is what I put in this chart here. If you look at all those initiatives, people is the center of it all. The people are the center of all this transformation that is happening in the society. Even though you have big data, robotics, automation, everything, the people makes the big difference in these initiatives. As a group, I would like to say, as a Volvo Group, we are reaching 1 million connected assets as we speak. 1 million connected assets. And that's a big milestone for Volvo. And as UD, we have access to this technology, this best practice, which we will leverage and adapt for our market needs and our customer needs. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Chandrika Shetty, who will talk a bit about connectivity.
Thank you, Satish, and konnichiwa. So what have we been offering for the almost 1 million connected assets that we have as a group? So I want to show you what we are focused on. To start with, since 1994, we started working with how can we make our customers' operations more efficient with productivity services. And then we focused quite a bit to understand how can we make sure the trucks that our customers have, the assets, are always on the road when they need it on the road. We don't have any unplanned workshop visits, so we have been working quite a lot with uptime. We also work what we stand for safety. How can we make sure that the assets we have are secure, our customers' assets are secure, and they are driven safely, so we can give them real-time feedback on safe driving and also give reports on how their driving can be made more safe in the future. We worked on vehicle optimization, so how can we use the data, external data, the topology that we have, the maps that Shimizu-san spoke about, how can we use that to make our driving even more efficient? Automatically our trucks know how the terrain is and how they can drive in those. And then all the data that we are collecting, so since more than a decade, all the connected assets, we have real-time data, so much data. How can we take that data, convert data into information, insightful information, and actionable information for ourselves as Volvo Group, so that we can make our products better, less NOx, what we can understand in terms of breakdowns, component failure, and also to our customers, how can we offer better insights to them on how they can make their operations more efficient, fuel efficiency and maintenance more efficient. And now we have started also focusing on not just what we can do from our product as services, but what can we offer more as a complete solution. Can we take the data we get from our construction equipment, from our trucks together and the infrastructure and offer a mining solution? Or can we offer some kind of solution for harbor? So we have started to work with those kind of areas. And then when it comes to the innovation that we are working with electromobility, we can use connectivity. It is a very important enabler for us to give information on range anxiety. You can tell exactly how much can they drive so they don't have range anxiety. And also you can give them information about the charging infrastructure and many more information that is necessary for us to make our electric trucks more efficient. And the last one, Shimizu-san touched on it quite a bit, autonomous with connectivity, because that is very important for all the AI. You have to make sure that it is connected, the trucks, and in real time, and it has to be, you have to be able to remotely view it as a command center, and vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructure communication. So a lot of connectivity necessary for us to enable autonomous. So mainly these are the focus areas that we have been working with. Jay, if you could. And in my past life, I was an architect, so please don't be scared with the more of an architectural diagram here. But what we wanted to show is that, of course, from our truck to our platform, we have worked quite a bit to have reliable data, secure data, privacy norms. But then when we start to look at all the digitalization that is happening, our users, our customer, partner, driver, they might have many, many different channels through which they get that information, and it can become very complex. So we have started to work with how can we start to offer our services through one channel and also help others, our partners and customers, to develop services so they can look at everything on a single channel, information on a single channel, so their operations can be more efficient. And then we also use the existing channels to distribute the services like the App Store or Android App Store and iPhone App Store, and also through the portal. Then a quick insight, if we simply take the data that we have collected closer home with our UD trucks and play it out from morning to evening, what kind of insights can we see? The green dots are our trucks, the yellow dots are our customer center, and the red dots are where we are real time looking at the fault codes that are coming up from our trucks. So then we are showing the connected assets we have in UD, and now I will request Mori-san to come up and talk about what services we offer for UD trucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
はい、
I'm Koichi Mori of the UD Trucks. Time is limited, so I cannot explain deeper, but if you'd like to hear more, please raise questions, ask questions at the Q&A session. Now, first page. At UD Trucks, we introduced the first connected trucks with the telematics device. And in 2019, it's reached about 60,000. And we are aiming to connect about 150,000 units in 2025. And as for the current produced manufactured trucks, every trucks are connected. Every truck is connected. And as for the actual service which are offered, I would like to talk about the services for Japan, first of all, Japan market. And there are 4 big areas. First one is the uptime and quality improvement and the productivity improvement and safety. So we can get the various information from the trucks, and I would like to explain the upper part. As for the fault defect information or possible defect information, we can take that, and also we can have the location of the vehicle. By combination them, we can provide road support service. By after grasping the current situation or the condition of the traffic, we can provide appropriate services to the customer. And as for the possible defect, we can also get the information. Then it can be used in the preventive maintenance. Further, as for the defects code or fault codes, they can be analyzed. But we also have the other data coming from the data, and by combining all of the data coming from the vehicle, we can utilize them for improving our quality. The quality team are analyzing those data to improve the quality of our product, and also we will improve the preventive maintenance service. On the bottom, the big pillar is the productivity, and it's mainly to improve fuel economy. As for the service, there is an onboard service which is called NMP Kochi, a fuel coaching system. So real-time fuel situation, and also the prefetching driving, and that kind of eco-friendly driving can be scored, and that kind of report can be made to the driver, and those informations can be summarized as a report, and they are provided to the customer. And another important point is the safety. And from our customer center, we are giving advice to the customers to contribute to the safer driving. So in Japan market, we are now focusing on uptime improvement and improvement of safety. Next page. This is our connected services for international market. There are 2 categories. First one is uptime, and the second one is productivity. As for the uptime, it's similar to the Japan market, but based on the defect information and the location of the vehicle, we try to improve the uptime. And as for the productivity, we have 5 categories of services. So operation, we have the tracking and the vehicle status alerts and driver skills and geofencing. And after the driving, we provide the driving skill report and also the report on the analysis of the fuel driving to make the drivers driving more efficient. So we are providing integrated one-stop service to improve the efficiency of the operation. Thank you. That's all from me. Now I'd like to get it back to Satish.
This session. Connectivity, as my colleagues presented, is extremely important and a big contributor for the smart logistics industry. Looking forward to see you all in the Tokyo Motor Show where we will talk more about connectivity. Thank you very much. And now let me invite Nakamura-san from NTT Docomo. And thank you very much, Nakamura-san, for hosting us here today to talk.
Before we start, I'd like to say thank you very much for welcoming me to this seminar, and also thank you very much for coming to our company today. On behalf of NTT Docomo, I would like to say a big thank you. So my presentation. Actually, I belong to the 5G laboratories, so I've been working on 5G. And automotive is a very important use case for 5G. Currently, in Docomo, we are engaged in various activities in the automotive sector, especially connected for case. What should we do, and what kind of business that can lead to? This is a very important factor in our 5G development. So let me first talk about our development of 5G and the logistics-related initiatives as well. Sorry, I need to say a few more things before the presentation is up. What should I say now? "5G has been a big topic for some time. We've been appealing the importance of 5G in Japan and also overseas. And fortunately, 5G, I think, has become a very famous buzzword. And people from many industries are keenly interested in 5G. And there is a great amount of interest from many types of industries. And I think many people are considering the new business that can be developed with 5G. And we would like to do our utmost to cooperate with different industries. And I have been given this opportunity to present in many locations, especially in local regions. So the interest in 5G is actually even stronger outside of the metropolitan area in local regions. Okay, now the presentation is ready, so let me go right into it. So I would like to first talk about the schedule for the 5G introduction and the concept behind 5G and the various initiatives by Docomo. And then in the latter half, I'd like to talk about logistics-related initiatives. So this is the 5G introduction schedule. So every 10 years, a new generation has been launched. In order to meet the market demand, we need to install this new generation technology at least every decade. And 5G, the target has been 2020 from a long time ago. And because the Olympic and Paralympics will be held in 2020, this is a very important timing. But if you look at the world, in South Korea and the US has already launched 5G, and in Europe several cities have already launched 5G. So we can't wait too long. And so in 2019, the Rugby World Cup will be held in September. So we have decided to provide 5G service at that timing. So we will call it pre-5G service. The date has already been set. 20th of September will be the launch of the pre-5G service. And we hope to introduce many use cases with 5G at that time. And we have been engaged in various activities in preparation. For example, open partnership program and the trials for 5G. We have the 5G trial site together with various partners. And Ministry of Information has already allocated the frequency 10th of April. And now we are developing the system using this frequency band. So this is the image for the introduction of 5G. I've been using the same slide for several years. It has not been updated much. But of course, in 2019, 2020, the introduction is right around the corner. So the location for the 5G introduction is basically decided, although I cannot go into details here. In any case, 5G will not be introduced throughout Japan from the very beginning. We have to first introduce in specific areas. And basically, these areas will be urban, where the high speed and large capacity is most needed. However, in order to appeal 5G, we would like to leverage the Rugby World Cup and the Tokyo Olympic Paralympic venues and the area surrounding the venues. Also, not just the cities, but also we need to contribute to the local revitalization by introducing to certain local or suburban regional areas. Of course, the 5G area will be expanded going forward, and the functionality will be added. So when we talk about logistics, which road will be covered may be an important point of consideration. I cannot give you a clear answer yet, but national roads or highways, expressways should be prioritized, I believe. I cannot be more concrete than that, but that is the current thinking. Now, for the allocation of the 5G frequency allocation, this is the result from the 10th of April announcement by MIC. There is the 3.7 gigahertz, 4.5 gigahertz, and the 28 gigahertz, the three bands. Luckily, we were allocated all of these bandwidth. And the lower frequency band allows for farther distance. If it's a high gigahertz, then the distance is short, but band is also wider. So, for example, if it's 28, then it's 400 megahertz. Currently, the one block is about 20 megahertz, but in the 28, it will be 400 megahertz. 3.7 and 4.5, it's about 100 megahertz. So quite a bit wider than the current 20 megahertz with 4G. So 28 gigahertz, you may be able to send a huge amount of data, even though the distance will be limited. And for the 3.7 and 4.5, it's 100 megahertz, so not as big, but this will allow a coverage of wider area. This is the current thinking. So for automotive, this requires large area coverage, so the lower gigahertz will be allocated, I believe. But for parking space and so on, this is a limited area, and if there is a large amount of data communication, then the 28 gigahertz may be better. So DOCOMO has the 5G Open Partnership Program, and we are collaborating with various sectors developing the 5G business case. We already have 2,800 and more partners in the partnership program. This is the breakdown. As you can see, many industries are participating in this partnership. IT contents, that is the largest. And I think the most relevant sector will be the 5%, which is the traffic and transportation. It's just 5%, but this comprise many entities. And also local governments and municipalities are a large part as well. And connected cars have been studied quite heavily in our industry as well. There are already many use cases, and the main ones, I believe, are listed on this slide. Of course, safety, security-related aspect is important, and the efficiency of transportation is a must, and infotainment types of aspects. So there are many use cases, and all of this requires connected service. So from the business point as well, we believe that we can participate and cooperate in many of these use cases. So as mentioned, we have many use cases and many demonstration studies, but let me just introduce one because time is limited. This is the 5G demonstration that we did with Nissan. Nissan's concept is invisible to visible. So this allows communication between people who are not in the car and people who are in the car in a fun and more comprehensive manner. How to connect the people outside of the car and inside the car. This requires 5G wireless communication. So actually, the people who are not in the car are actually shown in the car as avatar, and the avatar is able to communicate to the people in the car. And by wearing the head-mount display, the people outside of the car can experience what is happening in the car and inside the car. So we did this in Nissan's test course using 5G. This is the image from the demonstration. So this AR glass is being worn, and via the AR glass, hello, the person who is outside of the car is shown. And because we have the technology, these various fun images can be shown. And this is the car with the 5G station. The mobile and the base station antenna is set up on this car. The antenna you can see over there. And the 5G base station is placed on the car. So 5G communication, 1000 megabps, 1 gigabps, that is the speed of the communication. So two-dimensional avatar can be shown as well. So with autonomous driving, drivers will have ample time on their hands. So by communicating with family members or friends with avatar, this could be quite fun and reduce the fatigue of drivers or reduce the stress of drivers. This is just an example of the use case. And let me briefly touch upon the logistics-related initiatives of DOCOMO. Of course, MaaS has become a hot topic, and the advanced MaaS and the service-linked MaaS, we have been working on this. So advanced MaaS is using AI, like AI taxi and AI bus, which has already been commercialized. And the service-linked MaaS, we are linking with various types of services. So as you can see, advanced MaaS includes like AI taxi, which utilizes the real-time demand information for prediction, and the AI bus operation. This is making the bus route more efficient by using the AI. And the service-linked MaaS, this is creating new business by combining mobility with various services. And for AI taxi, let me go in a bit more detail. Taxi drivers have the know-how on where there are customers, but we want to analyze that via AI to provide information where there is a large demand by customers. And this allows for higher efficiency in drivers finding customers or passengers. For example, the people flow. Because DOCOMO is providing mobile communication, we can know the general flow of people. Also, we can take the taxi driving data and the weather data as well. So these various information can be combined and analyzed by AI to provide the driver with information on where there are potential passengers. And we already know that this has improved efficiency for the taxi drivers. And next is the AI bus operation. For normal bus, there is a set route, regular route. But actually, depending on the demand, the route should be optimized. And so on-demand dynamic route and sharing technology can be realized by having the AI analysis, developing the optimal route. We have been working with Kyushu University, and this part of this has already been commercialized. So there are many initiatives in MOS, but I just provided some examples. Thank you very much.
はい、中村様ありがとうございました。
Thank you, Mr. Nakamura. Now we are going to have a panel discussion by the 5 presenters.
UD トラックスは社会が求めるニーズの変化に果敢に取り組み、時代が求める商品・サービスの提供を実現してきました。世界が直面する社会の課題は日本ではすでに深刻になっています。これは私たちの暮らしを支える物流にも大きな影響を及ぼしています。2030年には少子高齢化が進み、ドライバー不足はより深刻になるでしょう。一方、電子商取引の拡大と小口配送の増加により物流は一層の効率化が求められます。加えて持続可能な社会のため物流業界は引き続き CO2 削減、エネルギーの効率化に取り組んでいかなければなりません。 UD トラックスは社会そして物流業界のお客様ニーズの変化を捉え、お客様から選ばれるビジネスパートナーを目指しています。効率性、安全性、持続性の高い物流を支える革新的なソリューションを提供し、スマートロジスティクスの実現のために一歩先へと走り続けます。人に優しく、効率的で生産性の高い、安心かつ持続的な革新的なソリューション、それがスマートロジスティクスです。
Now, thank you for waiting for the rearrangement for the panel discussion. We are starting the panel discussion now. Again, I'd like to just say the names of the panel discussion participants: Mr. Shimizu, Mr. Nakamura, Satish, Mr. Mori, and Chandrika. So I'd like to ask Shimizu-san to moderate, Mr. Shimizu to moderate this session. Okay. So being connected is actually very natural things right now. If I take my own example, I published a book called Thoughts on ITS from NHK. And at that time, ITS was proceeded, and there is an assumption, precondition that the vehicle will be connected. But it's a kind of the V2I, vehicle to infrastructure, especially on the expressway, optical beacon or road information, which is provided by JATIC. But recently, 4G, LTE, or 5G will be launched. So cellular mobile communication can be utilized for being connected. And it's not necessary to just relying on infrastructure to be connected. In the Japan's east big earthquake, at that time the expressway was cut, and I tried to provide some kind of rescue materials for them, but we couldn't identify which road can be taken available. But at that time, we used the probe information, and the disaster map could be available on the Google Map. And like this, being connected has a very big potential for contributing the rescue activities in the disaster, but not only in the disaster situation. But we can also use the mobile communication to the mobility. And today, especially, our presenters are UD Trucks, and they are in charge of logistics. So in the logistics business, by being connected, how logistics can be more effective without less burden or no traffic accident. If we can achieve that, our society would be better in the future. Right now, in the passenger vehicle, the autonomous driving is a hot topic, but in the SIP, we found that it's difficult to promote that in the passenger car because it's just a 200 million vehicle. But the autonomous driving for more than 10 million yen would be really limited for passenger vehicle. So it's a little bit difficult to connect that connectivity in the passenger vehicle. But actually, for logistics industry, I think we can quickly introduce the connectivity in a more dynamic way. So in 2020, we are thinking about Level 3 on the expressway, and so the traffic law, safety law are now organized to differentiate who will be responsible for the accident like that. And I'm certain that after 2020, in terms of regulation, it would be available for the commercial logistics. But now automobile industries are at the level of Level 3. But as for the logistics industry, they are facing shortage of drivers, and they want to improve the logistics. For example, we are using a lot of Amazon e-commerce shipping, and it's very convenient, but they are putting a big burden on the logistics infrastructure. So, and whether it can be profitable or not for doing that, so it's difficult to get profit from the smaller e-commerce transportation. But anyway, so now the logistics is actually the blood of the society. So at the beginning, I'd like to ask Satish about your presentation. You talked about the platform. So could you please elaborate a little bit more about the concept of platform you mentioned in this presentation?
Yeah, I can first agree with you, Shimizu-san, that the whole area of connectivity is super important for the logistics industry. And as I said before, we in UD Trucks are committed to also go beyond our products to help enable new services to our customers, leveraging and with enabling through connectivity. And we will work on with our customers to increase their revenue by increasing their efficiency, increasing the payload, and also the fleet management. But also, we will help our customers to reduce their cost, the fuel cost. So connectivity is very, very important. Coming to your question on openness in the platform thinking, Chandrika, you mentioned about it in your presentation. If you could elaborate a little bit about the whole platform thinking, that would be good.
You have mentioned that we will work on quite a lot of platforms. There are separate platforms. Nakamura-san, you mentioned the platform you have where you are partnering up as well. Then what is key is for us to be able to collaborate together, use the data we have in other platform, our platform as well, and together create the right service to our customers. So we have worked with how can we make, of course, secure our platform. We should keep the privacy, we should keep it secure, but still able to allow developers, our partners, authorized partners, to use the development kit, create the right service from the data that they get from our platform and offer it on a single channel. That's what we have envisioned and worked with as Volvo Group.
Satish and Chandrika mentioned that the customer, they are actually the owner of the trucks. Can we think like that? It's not the end user, but the owner of the trucks. So it's a B2B business, actually. When they say customer, they are the truck owners or truck fleets. So how the trick fleets can make the transportation in more comfortable way and in more efficient way, and they would like to support customer to increase their revenue but with the less burden on the environment. So they would like to improve the efficiency of the transportation or logistics, and I think there's a big potential in there. So if we think about that, we are just imaging the body of the trucks like that, but it's a kind of common area of developing, or common open platform, or common language, something like that. Mori-san, you mentioned that you mentioned the various use cases. In Japan, fleet owners of the Japan are aggressive, positive to get these kind of services, being connected services. Especially for the improvement of uptime and the improvement of safety, there is a strong request from the customer for those two areas. How about safety? Safety is damaging people, or in other words, this is the case of trucks, so this is big. So if there is an accident, there would be a big accident. So you may think about the prevention of the accident. So it's not only related to data, but if we also think about the product or traffic itself, of course, it's the safety of the running operation, but how connectivity can support that remote, for example, the remote monitoring supervision can be utilized. But the basic concept is we want to avoid clash between the truck and the people or other things. So we would like to use connectivity to avoid those collisions. So maybe it's not visible so much, but maybe we can utilize the partners' data effective to expand the collaborative area to avoid those accidents. Thank you. I'm actually motor journalist, so I tend to focus on passenger vehicles.
But in the past 2 years, when we look at automation or the large or heavy-duty vehicles, I think will be more meaningful because small-scale cars, cost, reliability, people are driving everywhere, so the conditions are very various. But for logistics, the fleet runs in a limited area. So in that sense, I think the innovation could be brought to logistics first. And this year's CES in Las Vegas, a Consumer Electronics Show, actually, I received an invitation from a truck manufacturer, and I was given a test drive. And there is a lot of movement in the logistics area, especially in port area. This is not a public road, so when moving containers, when these vehicles are connected, various information can be obtained. And the focal point of the central point of the truck can also be obtained. So we know the load of the trucks. So what had been just a people's experience and knowledge can be turned into data. And when we talk about autonomous driving, and using, for example, perhaps fuel cells, I think that logistics will be the front runner. So now let me turn to Mr. Nakamura. You talked about the 5G expectation, and there was an ad tagline that a 2-hour movie can be downloaded in several seconds. But when we talk about 5G, actually, there are various types of performance, and so we're going to allocate the best 5G technology to the best areas. Do you think that the allocation of frequency band was done in a good manner in Japan? Yes, I think the fact that the 3 gigahertz, the frequency bands had been allocated is a good thing, but there are some areas that cannot be used because of the satellite. But I think that most of these frequency bands can be utilized. So we need to really look at the use case of how 5G technology will be used. So in your slide, what I found to be interesting was that there is a lot of interest from the local regions, which means that the local regions are realizing that technology could be a way to revitalize the society. Yes, there is a strong push from the national government as well. And we have been working actively for local revitalization. And personally, I have an opportunity to talk to many people. And I think that there is a high expectation for this technology for local region. It's a blue ocean in a sense. There's the needs, and if there's no competitor, so if we can build a good business model, it's going to be really good for our business as well. When we look at the near future forecast, population will decline, aging society will progress, and mobility, including logistics. If connectivity improves, then I believe that our lifestyle, people's lifestyle, will change. And for example, there are 120 million people in Japan, and 37 million people in the wider Tokyo area, which means that 1/3 of the Japanese population is in the Tokyo area. And I believe that Volvo's business is mostly in the Tokyo area as well. But perhaps this the decentralization could progress because in the local region there's better nature, better scenery, beautiful water, clean water, and rather than living in a concrete jungle, although I'm not criticizing this building at all, it's a better environment overall in the local region. So if logistics and mobility can undergo change, maybe Japan as a country can change as well. Do you have any comments with regards to people's lifestyle change with the change in mobility and logistics? Mr. Satish, perhaps?
Clearly, if you see the video we had presented, right, the boy and a girl and having the broccoli, and it's a very simple example, but it has a very strong message. As I mentioned in my presentation, connectivity and making sure that the trucks are available on time, right, is so important for us and for our customers and for our consumers. So the society will change leveraging connectivity and the technologies we spoke about today with Society 5.0. So for sure, my personal view is that this is going to really transform the logistics industry.
Yes, so society will change, society will transform. There are high expectations for that. So rather than just having these smart, intelligent vehicles, everything needs to be connected. And all the stakeholders have to participate in creating an ecosystem, because we need to look at the society system as a whole. So myself, perhaps, we tend to focus on single areas because Japanese people are a bit nerdy, otaku. So we tend to dig deep in a narrow area, but we need to also connect in a cross-sectional, cross-cutting manner. What are your expectations, Mr. Mori, for the change in the society? If I say something a bit extreme, distance and time, maybe even if people who live in local regional areas can purchase goods or obtain information with the same speed as people who are living in urban areas, seamless logistics, seamless information exchange, I believe that that will really transform the society. I can't really go deeper than that, but that's my way of thinking. That's my concept. And Ms. Chandrika, the Japanese market is not huge for a truck manufacturer. I think volume-wise, Japan may be small, but compared to Europe, US, Asia, China. What do you think is unique about Japan? What are the characteristics of the Japanese market, do you think?
Some of the things I've learned now, I have shifted for 1 year to Japan. Some of the things that I have learned is the amount of data you have. Like you say, you were the first ones to come into having 3D maps and having 3D view in navigation. And all the information that you have makes it so easy for us to develop technology. So even if we start late, a little bit late here, I think the amount of information and content we have will make it very easy for us to develop the future technologies here in Japan. And also what I've understood so far is services. I mean, services are taken for granted in Japan. You really are all about offering good service, and that makes it very interesting for us when we start to look at what kind of services should we offer, but service along with people, because it cannot be, just a service, just a digital channel. It has to be people who can take that and offer the right service to our immediate partners and customers. These are the three things that I have been very clearly told to keep in mind when I think about services.
So it's not technology as such, it's the relationship we have with our customers, leveraging those technology.
So human, people, is going to remain at the center. Japanese culture and history is about hospitality, omotenashi, and that culture may be unique to Japan. And Mr. Nakamura, if I may add to that, I think that we can contribute a lot. When I was watching UD Truck's video, the mom was the driver of the truck. And female population used to enter the working, have to become more and more in the business field. In the past, Japan was mostly just by the Japanese nationals, but the people living in Japan has become much more globalized, and we need to work with not just Japanese people but non-Japanese people, and we need more diversity. And it's, for example, the truck driver was the mom in the video, and perhaps by combining with the Nissan's invisible to visible technology, then maybe the mom can communicate to the families in the truck. But of course, when we work with people of other nationalities, there are language barriers or cultural barriers. But I think that from Docomo, we can contribute in overcoming such obstacles. And for example, AI-based translation has been progressing by various players. And communication, for example, audio type communication in the car, I think can be improved by reducing noise and so on. And I think that various ways of communication, when we talk about communication, it's one word, but actually communication incorporates many, many types of different communication. And I think that we can do so much to logistics or trucks or female revitalization or regional revitalization and so on. So I think that communication really holds the key.
Thank you. Like you can see on the monitor, we have some opinions and comments from the participants, and there are so many comments than usual, than we expected, and we show some of them. And I selected the one of that, and I would like to ask a question. As a social infrastructure, in order to stabilize connectivity as a social infrastructure, we need to have the common platform. Are you working on the partnership with the other manufacturer competitors? Can I ask this question to Satish?
Maybe I can say, as open platform, it's extremely important to collaborate and among stakeholders, and that's when we create value between the refrigeration company and us, etc., etc. So there are very different ways to collaborate with partners. And as we presented in the material today, we are as a group we are looking at collaborating with the marketplace. We are looking at collaborating with developers. We are looking at collaborating with our customers. So as a group, this is what we have today. And we see more opportunities to collaborate, and we are more than open to discuss with our business partners in the area of collaboration.
ありがとうございます。で、本日は会場にメディアの皆様方をお招きしておりますので、ぜひこの
Sorry, today we have participants from media, so we would like to take some questions from the media on the floor. Are there anyone who would like to ask a question?
お願いします。
I have two questions. My name is Nakao from Response. My first question is linked to the previous question. In the truck industry, developing platforms, for example, Toyota is working with Daihatsu, Matsuda, Subaru, who are part of the Toyota group in fleet management or maintenance. And they have one platform with these different entities. In the truck industry, the cloud service provided by Volvo, do you have any plans to share that platform with other truck companies? Or you talked about developers, but perhaps Daimler or Volkswagen. Do you have any collaboration with such partners? Thank you for the question. So any plan to collaborate with other truck manufacturers?
No plan at the moment. And we can discuss with you.
Yeah, but there is a legal regulation and then a protocol that was mandated that all of us in the European brands have to provide information. So because we all do provide some basic information that is mandated, it is possible for us to show a Daimler truck or a Scania truck on our platform, and the other way around. They can also show. So all our customers, most of our customers do have multi-brand fleet, and they don't want to see different solutions. They want one channel, like we said. Then they are able to see whichever they choose. They are able to see all trucks in one platform. That is possible today. And yes, we will, of course, work more and more to see how we can make it more easier for a customer to offer single channel. Everyone contributes.
Let me supplement. Japan had been progressing in infrastructure-related protocol, but the cellular-related protocol will also advance in Japan, which will allow global communication platform. So that's going to allow us to collaborate with overseas entities better. And for Europe and Japan, the WP29 is the conference that we have in common. And the Europe's standard is harmonized to that of Japan, but US has a different system. So going forward, I think that some kind of consortium will be formed, and there will be harmonization. In any case, logistics is an important lifeline for all regions, and I think that all stakeholders understand the importance of such collaboration.
My main message there also is that we need to unlock the value, right? We need to unlock the value together. So we need partnerships and we need business partners to unlock that value together.
The discussion is now blooming, but now it's time to end the webinar. So before ending the webinar, I'd like to ask the participants to give us the closing remarks. First of all, Nakamura-san, please. As we presented in my presentation, we are making action related to 5G and logistics. And as Shimizu-san mentioned previously, more efficient logistics is strongly demanded, and also the common platform is essential to realize that. We have several assets such as the platform of cloud and AWS. but we can make a lot of contributions. So I'd like to collaborate with you. So various companies should collaborate. And we would like to promote that as much as possible together to make our society better. Thank you.
And Mr. Shimizu, thank you very much for your time today. So I also belong to the media. But in August, I will be going to Ina City. And there are many kinds of innovation, not just autonomous driving, but connectivity and agriculture and mobility in Ina. Remote education, remote healthcare will allow people who have been left behind in the local regions, who have been not given sufficient social service to access. And in a city, it would like to revitalize itself via these technologies. And what I found to be interesting is that Ina is now calling itself Ina Valley. The mayor was talking about Ina Valley in competition to Silicon Valley. If you look at the Ina City's webpage, you'll find the surprising delight that local cities in Japan are making such innovative challenges. Thank you very much for today once again. And lastly, let me invite Mr. Satish to say a few words.
So just to summarize, I mentioned to you about the importance of connectivity. Connectivity for the society, connecting towards our partners and customers. Connectivity is very important to improve the efficiency and improve the productivity of our customers. And it's a big component in the societal development and improvement as well. So looking forward to the partnerships here and the business partners and the webinar participants as well in the area of connectivity. And now I will also thank Nakamura-san and for excellent hosting here from NTT Docomo, and Shimizu-san, and thank you very, very much for your contribution and support. Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much to the 5 speakers. And I would like to extend my gratitude to the viewers on webinar. Thank you very much for your many comments and questions. I apologize that we were not able to address all of the questions due to limitation of time. With this, we would like to conclude the UD Trucks Connectivity Seminar and the ReVision webinar special streaming. Once again, thank you very much to NTT Docomo for lending us this venue. This webinar will be available to the ReVision Club members in about 1 month after editing. Also, the presentation materials will be sent to the ReVision Club members to the extent that sharing is possible. In ReVision Auto&Mobility, we will have the workshop seminar on the new innovation in mobility by commercial vehicles and logistics innovation in the beginning of September. Mr. Shimizu also stressed the importance or the very interesting development in logistics. So I hope that you will look forward to the seminar in September. Thank you very much once again for participating. We look forward to seeing you again at the next webinar and event.